Welcome to the Oshkosh Area School District Board of Education meeting. Has this meeting been properly noticed?
Yes, it has.
Can you please call the roll?
Carlin. Eliason.
Here.
Evans.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
Herzog.
Here.
Olmsted. Peschel.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, and tonight will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by students from Franklin Elementary. You guys can come on up. Yeah, that's good enough, right about, okay, well, whatever. It works.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start. Oh, you're just going to be ready. All right,
Okay.
good enough. And you guys can face the flag. Awesome. All right, whenever you're ready.
Yes.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
well. Okay, and Jack, is that you? And Willow? Thank you so much. Good job, you guys. And you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to. Thank you.
I think we've had our youngest pledge leaders
Yeah.
ever. So
The younger they are, the closer they get to the
so
flag.
thank you.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so now board and administrative reports. I don't have anything for tonight, so we'll go right into the good news report.
Okay, good evening, and the Superintendent's Good News Report for May 24th, 2017. You should be aware that at this time of year, with so many events happening as we close the year, our volume of good news just increases at a tremendous fashion. So congratulations to the Oshkosh West Junior, Katie Schneider, who took the 2017 American Legion Americanism and Government Scholarship Test and was one of 45 students of 3,000 who won a $250 scholarship. Katie plans to go to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and study history and graduate after graduation in 2018. So we have a junior doing extremely well in this area. Oakwood Elementary second grade students in classes in partnering with the YMCA to learn basic swimming skills during a 6-week class. Students also learned how to listen and take instructions. Oakwood Elementary second graders worked with volunteers and spent time learning about soil samples in their fourth quarter science unit. These third grade math students learned about entrepreneurship, economics, government, and math during the Mini Society Day at Oakwood Elementary School. Lots of activities going on there. Congratulations to Webster Stanley Elementary students pictured here who have received awards from their entries to the Create a Book contest. They were honored at Oshkosh Public Library on May 2nd. Also, congratulations to the 17th Youth Leadership Oshkosh graduates of area high schools who spent a year-long program sponsored by the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce learning how to become better leaders and to use their talents throughout the community. This year's class partnered with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Northeastern Wisconsin by supporting and participating in the Bowl for Kids' Sake. Congratulations to the South Park Middle School staff who recently celebrated this year's hard work on the district's writing goal. The staff engaged in writers' workshop collaboration throughout the school year. They believe that everyone should write like it matters, and it will. Webster Stanley Middle School students recently held a Fine Arts Night so that families could see the accomplishments of their children during the school year. Families enjoyed a nacho dinner provided by the Roxy, viewed student artwork on display, and listened to student music performances. Perry Tipler Middle School students' school's homeroom held Olympic competition and competed in the dress-up days, a community serve tic-tac-toe game where projects were done at the school and for the community and a cooperative team building activities. This was a great experience for both students and staff. Smith Elementary students who participated in the Bike to School Day on May 10th received a special prize and met on the playground for morning activities and fun. Smith students who read over spring break and participated in reading bingo were able to pick up their spot outside as they read as an incentive. Smith Elementary School's students also participated in the American Heart Association Jump Rope for Heart campaign, raising over $2,500. Top fundraising students celebrated by using silly string on a teacher of their choice. I'm sure that went over extremely well. Thanks to all those who participated and donated to this worthy cause. In an effort to better understand campus living, Merrill Middle School 7th graders visited the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh campus on May 16th, and they participated in hands-on activities with professors, toured the campus residence hall, and enjoyed a lunch at Blackhawk Commons. A team for 2 Oshkosh North High School students participated in the 2017 University of Wisconsin Crystal Glowing Contest that were just notified that they won the very best crystal quality. The contest involved over 350 high school entries from around the state competing to show who could grow the biggest and highest quality single crystal. The crystal selected will be grown aboard the International Science Space Station and the U.S. National Lab in partnership with the Center for Advancement of Science in Space and their Space Engineering Space Station Explorers program. If you've ever stopped by the science departments at North, it is fabulous to see those crystals growing. And we have a most enthusiastic teacher who is just constantly thrilled, and I'm glad that finally we reached that level of competition. During the literacy course at South Park Middle School, 6th grade students create tabletop games with a direction booklet and a narrative that they were presented to prospective buyers while being critiqued by parents, teachers, and community members. Students learned about the basic coding and created digital components. Several South Park Middle School 7th grade band students and 7th and 8th grade orchestra students recently participated and performed Trills and Thrills Music Festival, and they earned the superior rating, the highest possible rating at that music festival. Some South Park students were invited to tour the Houdini's Escape Gastropub, where they worked on life skills. A special thank you to the employees of Houdini's for making that a great experience. Seniors on the Communities program at North High School interned at various Oshkosh businesses to help determine what they could do, truly do, and be interested in a variety of professions. Thank you to these numerous businesses, and most especially to Oshkosh Truck, Bergstrom, and the school district in sponsoring that event, 44 North, and through the Communities program. Outstanding experience for students. Fun times each month. The Head Start students enjoyed the Wisconsin Bookworms program every month when the representatives came to visit their classroom, to read a book, to do an activity, and provide a copy of the book for each student to keep. This was a fun program during the past month, for each month of the past year. Students at Shapiro STEM Academy welcomed an artist in residence, Stefan Freeman, who used a unique spray painting technique to answer and inspire questions. Thank you to those who had made this opportunity possible for the Shapiro students. 12 students from Shapiro STEM Academy, pictured here, participated in Care Days, celebrating abilities, rallying around everyone as athletes and cheerleaders. And thank you to all of the organizers for this wonderful event. And we only apologize for the weather, as it was cut short by about 11 o'clock on that day. Counting on anything outdoors this spring is kind of a real difficulty, but the enthusiasm and especially the kickoff parade was really an exciting event for students. Attached, you will find the superintendent's calendar for the last 2-week period. And now I would like to call upon our through students in bright red blazers to come and introduce themselves and to celebrate both their efforts but also contributions from a very caring community that made those blazers possible. So with that, the students, if I'm told that you're going to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your experience.
Good evening, and thank you for letting us speak to you tonight. My name is Kaylin Brandel. We are representing Mira Middle School's Skills USA Club. We are here to publicly thank the many people who donated money and for the purchase of the official Skills USA red blazer. Wearing a red blazer that you see on all of us tonight helped us meet the strict dress code for Skills and gave us confidence in our events. There were many people that donated money, and we are very grateful. We were able to buy blazers for the 20 members in our club and have money to purchase extra items like black ties, belts, shirts, and pants. These items will stay with our club for future members to use. To the couple that wish to only be known as Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous, we want you to know we worked on our restaurant manners too.
Hi, I'm Taryn Lemertz. Our middle school club had quite a few members that placed in the state competition. Megan Merckx placed third in 3D printing, Renee Ruman placed third in model rocketry, Gianna Goodermuth placed first in extemporaneous speaking, I placed first in job interview, and Kaylin Brandel and I placed first in urban search and rescue. Oshkosh North High School also had members that placed at state. Urban Search and Rescue is one of the middle school events that qualify for nationals. On June 19th to June 23rd, Kaylin and I will be going to Louisville, Kentucky to compete at National Skills USA Leadership Conference. It was a great year to receive the red blazers.
Hi, my name is Gianna Goodermuth. Besides thanking the community for their support, we would also like to thank Mr. Tookshire, Mr. Garton, Miss Gordon, Miss Weber, and Mrs. Olson for their support. They volunteer their time, and without them, there would be no organization. In closing, you may be wondering why there are only 3 of us here tonight. Our Skills USA members are a very busy group. Many of our members are either on a field trip to compete with other bands from across the state or attending religious education classes. We want to be sure to pass on a big thank you on behalf of all those students that were unable to be here tonight. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
And congratulations to all of you, and I know the dedication of your teachers and your outstanding leadership in investing, leaders in investing in supporting this activity. The skills activities that you are participating in create such diversity and opportunities. And remember, these students are middle school students. We're not dealing with high school students yet in this group this evening, and outstanding representation. I just had an individual last night who's a business person in the community talk about the issue of taking on summer interns and individuals not really being prepared for those interviews. And I happened to mention that I knew that this was one of the competitions that you're in, and that we have the wrong students there. But unfortunately, unfortunately, your age probably doesn't allow you to go into those jobs that were being sought. But when you are that age, I am sure you'll be successful with those job interviews. And we look forward to hearing great things about you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
That completes the superintendent's good news report for this week.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any other reports from committee chairs? No? Oh, Barb.
I actually have 2 tonight. I'm pinch hitting for Mrs. Olmsted on the Facilities and Finance Committee. That meeting was held on May 18th, beginning at 8:30 a.m. The committee reviewed a list presented at the board meeting for any additional questions on proposed budget reductions. That's an agenda item we will be considering tonight. It was noted that the list did not include the $200,000 maintenance reduction that had been discussed at one time. It was decided to hold off on that at this point. There was also a suggestion to look at high school numbers. For example, in the music department, where there are students who are signed up for multiple band classes, as one example. There was a question regarding the reduction of administrator sub-costs. The committee would like more data on when an administrator substitute is brought in. We also discussed OEA salary schedule changes. The OEA salary schedule was implemented about 2 years ago. One of the objectives was to take a step off the low end of the schedule. Neighboring districts have a base salary of approximately $40,000 compared to that of Oshkosh, which is $38,000. It was noted that the union would rather see steps in the middle taken out, but to take steps out in the middle creates a bigger gap. Every year the gap is back to $1,600, which is why the old salary schedule was unaffordable, because the step movements were so high. There was a suggestion to eliminate Step 1 and Step 6. Even though that was a possible solution, the committee ultimately decided to recommend only taking Step 1 off the bottom of the salary this year. Another topic that had a lot of attention was the Traeger traffic problem. Superintendent Mack gave some background on the Traeger traffic issues. A number of possible solutions have been reviewed. There are varying pieces, with 20th Avenue being a county highway and across the street from Traeger being the town of Algoma property. Mr. Fox re-engaged Strand together with the city to complete a further study of the traffic issues. There was a study done in 2007, however it was vague and incomplete and did not offer specific solutions. There were a few options that were shared, and that was having a single traffic light, a multi-lane traffic light, a roundabout, or doing nothing. Strand, the consultant, recommended a roundabout, which would keep traffic flowing and slow traffic down in front of the school, but the county was not in favor of any kind of a roundabout. The county was not receptive to a multi-lane traffic light either, so the solution still on the table is a single traffic light. However, the city would not support the light financially. The lowest cost alternative would have this light function in the morning and afternoon only when school is in session. There is already a light at Oakwood, so the city had concerns about slowing traffic down on a county road so close to that other light. One item that will move forward is the elimination of handicap parking in the circle drive at Carl Traeger and relocating that to the east. The drop-off circle would strictly flow in a straight direction rather than having cars turn into handicap spots. It was noted that the district has done its due diligence and there will not be further study. This topic will be placed on a future workshop so that the whole board is informed, as well as the TV viewing audience, on the work that went into this issue and the current outcome. The next meeting is scheduled for June 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Following that meeting, was the same day, was the Policy and Governance Committee. The minutes are a little bit longer for that. We only met for about 45 minutes because we needed to get over to Riverside for the alternative high school graduation. One of the things we took a look at was board docs. The committee was provided with login information to access the board docs site, which gives us access to the Neola policies, both those that have been adopted and those that are being considered. We also set a special meeting date for Thursday, June 1st, so that's next week, at 9:30 to go through some additional policy updates. We examined policy 6330 with input from Mrs. Schnorr, who explained the addition of language to this policy so that if state pricing is offered, there is not a need to go out for competitive bids. We did recommend one additional change, which was to insert either state pricing or lower. We would always accept lower pricing. The committee approved the updates to the policy and recommended forwarding it to the full board for the June 28th board meeting. Mrs. Schnorr and Mrs. Myron presented information on the administrator compensation guideline for policy 3410. This came out of the discussion at the Administration Compensation Committee meeting. Currently, there are two groups listed within this policy that will be separated into administrators and general exempt employees that will require a new guideline to be created, which right now we're calling 3410A. For further review before going to the full board for approval, which we anticipate may be the June 28th board meeting. 3410A, this new guideline was created as a separation of employee group from the current administrative guideline 3410. And again, we are expecting this will go back to the Administrative Compensation Committee for final review before going to the entire board. We also reviewed policy 0176, board self-evaluation. We were recommending one change, which is to move the self-evaluation date up each year to March instead of April, because if there's a change in board membership as of the April election, we would not necessarily have the input from the exiting board members. So we thought if we could do that self-evaluation in March, it would make sure that all the people who had been on the board that year would have input. And again, we anticipate that this will go to the full board for approval on June 28th. It sounds like there are going to be a lot of things on the June 28th meeting. We looked at policy 0166, which is board agenda. I had requested that additional language be added to the policy taken from a prior strategic plan stating that the board would be provided with necessary data information at workshops and in staff reports so that we can make well-informed decisions when voting at a board meeting. In our prior strategic plan, there was some language about the board being provided with comprehensive information on which to make database decisions, and that resonated with me, and it makes sense for us in our deliberations. So again, we're hoping that this policy recommendation will go forward to the full board for approval at June 28th meetings. Another policy we looked at was policy 7250, which deals with memorials and commemoration of school facilities. My recommendation was to split this current policy into two parts, because one of the parts deals with memorials for students who have passed away, and the other one deals with naming of school facilities, and those aren't necessarily the same content. So the recommendation is to return this to the committee for additional discussion and editing at its June 1st meeting. And then the second part of that, policy 7250.01, memorials and commemoration of school facilities, would also go back to the committee for further editing. We didn't have enough time after 45 minutes, but it was a productive meeting. We meet again on June 1st on those updates on Neola, and then our regularly scheduled meeting is June 22nd, so that again will follow the facilities and finance meeting of that date. Thank you very much.
Wow, nice job.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, so we're into the non-agenda related public forum. Is there anybody who would like to speak on non-agenda related items? Anybody here that would like to speak on the agenda related items? Okay, so consent resolution agenda. For the consent agenda, the board has been furnished with background material on each item or has discussed it at a previous meeting. These will be acted upon with one vote without discussion. If a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled out of the consent agenda and will be voted on separately. I've been asked to pull 6B, 10, 20, and 21. Are there any other items? All righty.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, here we go. Number 1, minutes of April 24th, 2017 special board meeting reorganization meeting. 2, minutes of April 26th, 2017 regular board meeting. 3, minutes of May 3rd, 2017 special board meeting. 4, minutes of May 10, 2017 regular board meeting. 5, bills payable. 6A, appointments, resignations, and salary schedule. 6C, administrator appointment. 7, extended year staffing June through August of 2017. 8, four-year-old kindergarten and early childhood contracts for 2017 and 2018. 9, certification of high school graduates for 2016-17. 11, tentative agreement with the Oshkosh Education Association, OEA. 12, district level movement for eligible professional educators. 13, tentative agreement with the Oshkosh Paraprofessional Association, OPEA. One-step movement for eligible Oshkosh Paraprofessional Association, OPEA. Administrator in general exempt, non-exempt compensation 2017-2018. 16, wage increase, one-step and longevity movement for eligible food service employees. 17, wage increase for the International Alliance of Theatrical Stagehand Employees, IATSE. 18, base increase in longevity movement for eligible extracurricular employees. 19, changes to other post-employment benefits. 22 workstation RFP results, 23 ABC schedule, 24 Fox Valley Technical College Riverside program contract for 2017-18.
So moved. Second.
Please call the roll.
Eliason.
Aye.
Eliason, aye. Evans.
Aye.
Evans, aye. Garner.
Aye.
Garner, aye. Herzog.
Aye.
Herzog, aye. Olmsted. Peschel.
Aye.
Peschel, aye. Carlin. Motion carried.
Okay, 6B. Be it resolved that the Oshkosh Area School District Board of Education approve the retirements as filed with the Secretary to the Board of Education.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, please.
Mrs. Garner, I had asked that this one be pulled. Once again, we find ourselves faced with losing some long-term employees who have contributed in a major way, in a positive way, to the education of our children. And I just thought it would be appropriate for us to take a moment to thank them for their contributions to the success of our students. Susan Collins is retiring as an SLD assistant from Oshkosh West. Diane Cummings as an office technical from Oshkosh North. Lynn Peter as an early childhood teacher assistant in the Ready for Learning program. And Pam Pfaff, Dean of Students at Perry Tippler Middle School. The years of service of these individuals varies from 27 years to 13 years, and every one of them has contributed in a major way to the success of our children, so we thank them.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Evans.
Aye.
Evans, aye. Garner.
Aye.
Garner, aye. Herzog.
Aye.
Herzog, aye. Olmsted. Peschel.
Aye.
Peschel, aye. Carlin. Eliason.
Aye.
Eliason, aye. Motion carried.
Okay, number 10. Be it resolved that the Oshkosh Area School District Board of Education approve the employee handbook language changes and additions effective July 1st, 2017, as filed with the Secretary to the Board of Education.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Yes.
Mrs. Garner, I had also asked that this one be pulled for a couple of reasons. Number one, I wanted to thank Mrs. Myron and Mrs. Schnorr for the work that they've put in on this handbook. It's a significant document to everyone in the school district, and the work that's gone into this handbook really does need to be recognized. In my opinion, they've done an excellent job of synthesizing the information in the handbook, simplifying it in some ways. Instead of having separate sections for each employee group, they've consolidated a number of those pieces. There's a change that has caused some concern among some folks in the community and within the district, and that is a 30-minute unpaid lunch for custodians. I think it's important to note that this is a duty-free lunch and for secretaries and custodians, and that needs to be respected. We have a piece of our strategic plan that talks about respecting our employees, and if we're going to ask them to have this 30-minute unpaid time, then we need to respect the time that they have. I also think it's important for everyone in the district to read this. There's some significant language in here that should address some concerns that I've personally heard about during the year, dealing with harassment, dealing with some other issues, and it's important that people follow the chain of command, making sure that they go to their administrators, go to their supervisors, or go to Mrs. Myron, the HR director, if there are issues. Because we do indeed want to make sure that our staff are respected and supported, and that the education of our children is foremost as we move forward each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just also add thanks that remember that the original version was put into place originally hastily the summer after the Act 10 passage that caused the districts to have to leave all past terms and conditions of employment, and it was pulled together, I think, by the best available help at the time to do so, but it remained fairly choppy because it tried to merge all the different units into one document. But that certainly led to some confusion, and the work that Lori and Sue have done is really excellent in the fact that we now have one full document. This will be available online to all employees, but I've also asked so that there's less potential of persons not reading it, that we at least print for initial employees and all present employees, one print version of it as well, to make sure that everyone has a copy in hand that they can use as a quick reference point, when, especially when technology may not be available or they need a reference. It's also wonderful bedside reading.
For those insomniacs, right? In some ways, the handbook reminds me of our policies in the sense that these are not cast in concrete or stone, and they can be changed. And so if something isn't working, administration needs to know about that, the HR office needs to know about that, so that we can make accommodations so that things do work for everyone. Thank you.
This is the 5th annual change of this from its original document, and it is the most significant revision since it was originally created and issued in the summer of 2012.
Any other discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Garner.
Aye.
Garner, aye. Herzog.
Aye.
Herzog, aye. Olmsted. Peschel.
Aye.
Peschel, aye. Carlin. Eliason.
Aye.
Eliason, aye. Evans.
Aye.
Evans, aye. Motion carried.
Okay, resolution number 20. Be it resolved that the Oshkosh Area School District Board of Education approve the proposed budget reduction list for 2017-18 as filed with the Secretary to the Board of Education.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Yep.
Mrs. Garner, I'd also ask that this one be pulled. There are a number of people who have approached me about this particular item 4, which is not a huge number, but to me that was a significant number in that these were people who typically are very pro-education and very supportive of what goes on in the district. And they had raised some questions about why do we need to be reducing the budget this year in light of the fact that we passed an ongoing referendum last year, and they didn't quite understand why that would need to be. And I guess I didn't do an adequate job of answering them, because I thought that referendum from last year was supposed to protect us from cuts over the next couple of years. So that's why I had asked that this one be pulled.
Do we want to address those? I know Sue's not here, so I'm not sure.
I certainly can comment on the pieces that certainly drive the additional cost are the base increase, the CPI index of 1.26%, as well as the insurance cost estimates that are estimated right now at 8%. Those have driven the annual cost of our estimates up higher than what any new revenue forecast, and even the forecast that is in the governor's proposal. You will find districts, most districts throughout the area, that are relying on that increase to also be dealing with small budget reductions that will occur. The other piece that we have dealt with is the fact that we are counterbalancing to a certain extent the increased costs of what was also approved this evening of the ABC plan to deal with responding to the needs of a more organized and synchronized elementary specialist schedule, as well as the compensation or positions that would relate to that. But the inflationary increases that we remember last year, we balanced the budget minus $600,000 for technology to avoid a set of budget reductions that we simply covered last year at zero increase. We were consuming the entire amount, and this year the inflationary increases that are facing us are effectively we're not able to keep up with the true cost of increased education. The biggest two variables that we need to, and we could certainly choose not to do, but it would be unwise, that makes us less competitive, and that is the issue regarding maintaining inflationary increases in competitive salaries, which we've worked very hard to put ourselves in line with with our neighbors, as well as very limited around the state, but frankly, we're in a better position now than we have been with compensation to both recruit and retain our employees. And the last piece that I think is critical is the fact that we potentially, if insurance costs for the coming year come in less, we can adjust off of that. So, but we're estimating the most extreme outside cost. Julie also has some additional.
Yeah, so I believe line item 4 was curriculum resource budget. Was that the one that, because we were looking, I was trying to figure out what number 4 was on
Right.
the budget line. Is that the one that we were talking about?
No, this is, I think it's labeled proposed budget reductions.
Oh, I
It's
thought,
number
because you
20.
said directly on the list, you said number 4 on the list.
I'm sorry, I may have misspoken.
4 people had approached her.
Oh,
So
I'm
we're going to
sorry.
say 4. Number 4 on the list, and I was going to
Okay,
tell you.
sure.
All right.
It'd say 4, you're right.
There
Yep.
you go.
4 individuals ask questions. Yes.
But I will be asking later about number 21.
Sure.
That,
I think that, well, I know that the budget is very complicated. And I think what people have to realize is we did pass that referendum, but that was, money is spread over 5 years. We don't get it all at one time. And it was the money that we were asking for because of revenue caps. The mill rate was actually less than what we were saying because we can only go so far. And what we did was we passed the referendum to meet our spending. And as prices and rates go up, as salaries go up, we're no longer meeting that. And that is why we had to make some cuts.
We could do a very, there are 2 things we could control. We could choose to minus compensation increases that have kept us out of being less than competitive. And we could also ignore the fact that additional insurance rates will occur, and we could then dismantle our insurance plan. In each of those cases, it makes our employment here in this district less competitive, and that's the last thing we want to do with retaining quality staff.
I would like to see perhaps the Facilities and Finance Committee, after the state passes the state budget this year, try to get out front on the 18-19 budget. Because right now, I think the revenue provided per pupil for that year is projected to be about $204,
Yes.
something like that. So we can guesstimate about where we will be so that we can anticipate revenues as well as potential reductions if that would be necessary, so that we're not scrambling. If we can look more long range, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, and in school finance in Wisconsin, long range is 1 year at a time, and we're estimating that the best will happen with the governor's proposal, and frankly, we're dealing with this with a final levy. We will not have final numbers from the state until the second, third week of October. And so we're doing this in anticipation of being financially responsible so that we live within our means and do not consume additional fund balance.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Herzog?
Yes.
Herzog, aye. Olmsted? Peschel?
Aye.
Peschel, aye. Carlin? Eliason?
Aye.
Eliason, aye. Evans?
Aye.
Evans, aye. Garner?
Aye.
Garner, aye. Motion carried.
Okay, and resolution number 21, be it resolved that the Oshkosh Area School District Board of Education approve the literacy curriculum materials units of study as filed with the Secretary to the Board of Education.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mrs. Garner, I'd also ask that this one be pulled. It's not clear to me what we're voting on. At the May 10th meeting, we were presented with a written staff report, and under the section that asked for board motion, it had the letters N/A, which I assume means not applicable. And then the resolution for tonight reads that we approve the literacy curriculum materials units of study. That's on the resolution sheet, but on the staff report, it says a board motion is needed to approve the literacy curriculum resources. I don't know if those are the same thing.
It's the same
just not
thing.
clear to me what we're being asked to vote on.
Both are the same thing, and it was all the stuff that was included in the board packet last time and this time. It's those literacy materials.
So all 394 pages.
You got
Yes.
it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we knew what we were voting on. And then one person from the community contacted me on a question that I've been asked about before, and I've always responded in the way that administration has told me to respond. The question has to do with handwriting. Are we teaching handwriting? And I said, yes, we are teaching handwriting. Now, this person contacted me this week and said that this new material that we're being asked to vote on asks for people to teach handwriting only 5 minutes a week. So I just wanted clarification on that.
Yep, we'll give you the page number in the documentation.
Great.
Hold on for
Okay.
a second.
There might be slight differences in page numbers because we did some editing.
Right. So on page 119, it's entitled, the section entitled Handwriting and Written Communication, and it goes through the guidelines for grades K through 5. It talks about manuscript instruction, in other words, what we use for printing. It goes into cursive instruction, and then also keyboard and document creation. And so I'm trying to find in here the part with that, and that's on page 119.
I believe it says 10 to 15 minutes a day, actually.
Right.
I'm sorry?
10 to 15 minutes a day. And so when we're
10
talking
okay.
about that, we're not, I think we need to know that children are constantly writing and communicating throughout the day. And so when we're talking about this, it's direct instruction or where there's actual practice during that time. But the intention isn't going to be, at 45 minutes a day, we're going to be directly working on writing skills because that should be embedded throughout the entire day.
So I'm assuming that the Palmer method of handwriting that I learned a few years ago is no longer around.
Well, Zahner, Ploser, or Palmer,
Zahner,
which
Ploser.
are one of two of the two choices.
I did that one too. I forgot about
Okay.
Zahner.
Ploser.
Palmer came first, I think.
Right. And actually, if you flip the page over on 120, it goes through the teaching suggestions and how we actually teach handwriting. So,
Okay. So in case somebody would miss that within the 394 pages, maybe that could be pointed out to staff that yes, indeed, we do teach
Yes.
handwriting and how we do that so that they can answer those questions better than I. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, please call the roll. Thank you.
Olmsted. Peschel.
Aye.
Peschel, aye. Carlin. Eliason.
Aye.
Eliason, aye. Evans.
Aye.
Evans, aye. Garner.
Aye.
Garner, aye. Herzog.
Aye.
Herzog, aye. Motion carried.
Okay, are there any, no, there are no individually considered resolutions. Are there any requests for future agenda items?
I do have, well, we'll do that and we'll get to announcements, Andy.
Okay, do you want to do announcements first?
Well, yeah,
Have
we
to
can,
sit here.
okay. Yeah, we can do announcements. I'll ask Dr. Jones to introduce
Okay,
our
sorry.
one transfer principal and our one newly appointed principal from one of the joys that we've had in the change in the district 3-4 years ago, we were scrambling and hoping to find qualified principal candidates from the region and from outside the area. We've been able to go through 2 rounds of filling principal vacancies, one resulting from Mr. Kirby Schultz's retirement at Oakwood, and then a vacancy that was created by that reassignment. And we're really blessed in the fact that we have internal candidates who know and understand our district and who can potentially walk into a position being far more skilled than someone who doesn't know where their school is. And that's sometimes what we end up with when we're hiring new candidates on the outside. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jones for introductions.
Again, thank you, Mr. Mack. Again, as you alluded to, the board and the school district and the community has enjoyed over the last 4 to 5 years stability in the administrative ranks, and it's become almost rare for us to turn over a principal. And again, as you alluded to, only now are we dealing with this because of again, we want to recognize Kirby Schultz and the great work he's done at Oakwood School, that this opening became available, and you'll see how it transpired in kind of a 2-position shuffle. Directly to my right, to your left, is Susan Martin, and many of you will recognize Susan Martin as the current principal of Washington Elementary School. And through a rigorous interview process, We were very fortunate to have her passed, I believe, at the last board meeting. We wanted the community to know that she will now next year, as of July 1, be the principal of Oakwood Elementary. So we're going to see a shift from one school to the other. And again, we're very pleased, again, with the internal, as Mr. Mack, our internal people coming forward, and the opportunities that know our district and know our communities and our policies and our goals. And so we're thrilled to have Susan over at Oakwood. So, and then with your vote tonight, we're very happy to welcome again through a very rigorous interview process, Christy Levy. Christy is currently the instructional support teacher for integration and technology at West High School. And as of July 1, she will take over the position at Washington Elementary as the principal, replacing Susan. So we want to welcome both of these fine individuals into our administrative family and our community as well. And just to note that Ms. Levy is a former Oshkosh West graduate, so coming all the way hometown. And so are you. So
Well done.
we have it's just nice to see the hometown people coming around and coming back and staying with us and joining us in the leadership role. So we're thrilled to have both these ladies in the leadership positions that they'll be taking.
Yeah, actually, with the transfer of Susan, who was, and with Christy, and we have one other elementary principal. We have 3 of our elementary principals who've returned to their roots and our hometown individuals, which is really a delight. And to have that experience of being within the same ranks, as we have two directors, both Dr. Brown and Julie Conrad are also natives of Oshkosh. So we continue to have the connection grow for us within in this area, and it's nice to see that combination where we don't have to do mapping and orientation.
Yep. And again, just to reinforce with Mr. Mack, again with both these, but especially with the Washington position, we did not post this to the outside. It was internal. We did an internal look first, and we found a lot of talent within our own organization. So it's very rewarding when we see our own organization growing some of those people organically within our organization. And again, we're thrilled to have them on board. Thank you.
Very good. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, requests for future agenda items. Nothing?
In spite of a specific request for the board, I guarantee you we will have a full agenda for you to review.
We won't
There are
be
lots
bored
of,
next
there's
time.
lots of topics coming.
Okay. Any announcements?
I believe I probably should announce, since it was distributed in writing today to all school employees and yesterday to the Board of Education as well as to the executive team, that I've given an announcement of my intent to retire from this position as Superintendent of Oshkosh Area School District effective December 31st. The information related to my decision and my thanks and the wonderful experience that I'm having, and bearing in mind we're dealing with this 7 months in advance, for the board's benefit to do good planning in the future, is how grateful I have been in now, which will become 5.5 years of service to the district and to the community. I have the only regrets are that bottom line, I wish I was 10 years younger, and I would be continuing without question to serve this district. And I think that joy that I've had in working with internal and external folks are without question. We have a great community that really knows how to care about children, and that to me is the joyful part of all of my work. So thank you. Formal action on this will be sought from the board at the next board meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Stan. Any other announcements? It's a heavy end. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Peschel.
Aye.
Peschel, aye. Carlin. Eliason.
Aye.
Eliason, aye. Evans.
Aye.
Evans, aye. Garner.
Aye.
Garner, aye. Herzog.
Aye.
Herzog, aye. Olmsted. Motion carried.